How's your Sunday or end of Sunday going? Yeah, as usual, I'm just going to do some quick tests just to make sure that everything is working so we can start our live session. So I will just make sure that I can connect YouTube as well. So I think to make sure that I'm going to YouTube. Can you guys hear me all right? If you guys can give me some feedback, I will appreciate. Just going to double check YouTube just to check that everything is working. YouTube, just need to check with my headsets. I think it's YouTube is okay. All right, so yeah, tonight we're going to have a quick chat about the main questions or question and answer sessions about the validation process, and also somebody, depending on the participation and engagement of you guys in the audience, I will be giving away 15 minutes of free consulting on the spot tonight. So tonight you guys can have a chance to get 15 minutes of free consulting with me and ask your questions about the validation process. All right, in the meantime, I just get my notes here and make sure that I've got all questions. Those questions are mainly the questions that I received during the workshop that happened 2 weeks ago or finished a week ago. And thank you for your participation and your questions that you sent. There's so many questions that I couldn't really answer all of them during the workshop. Okay, so this one, I'll start with the live session then. All right, good evening everyone and welcome to live session number 182. Yes, 182 times that I'm here live talking about the validation process so you can become an engineer here in Australia. And tonight I'm going to be answering questions about the validation process, and also I'm going to choose somebody in the audience to give 15 minutes of free consulting. So can you guys hear me all right in Instagram and YouTube? If you can write in the comments if you can hear me okay. We'll start with the questions, because obviously I don't want to be talking here and you guys can't hear what I'm saying. But I think it's all working, hopefully. Okay, so I'll start with answering some of the questions, and if you have any questions you can write in the comments and I'll be answering as well. So this question, it says, can I submit 2 CDRs, competency demonstration reports, one for mechanical engineer and one for production engineer? Well, you can submit as many CDRs as you want to Engineers Australia. I suggest that when you send your application, you send your application separately. You send one, wait for the outcome, and then when you get your outcome, you send the other one. Obviously, they need to be, the content is going to be different, because one is related to mechanical engineering and other one is related to production engineering, if you have experience that you can demonstrate on both. Thanks, Kinley, to confirm in Instagram that you can hear loud and clear. Thank you. Um, the other question that I received, I'll translate because it was sent in Portuguese. Just a question about the process. Is it necessary to provide any proficiency English test? Yes, for you to apply for your validation process or your skills assessment, you need to upload a valid English test. It can be IELTS, TOEFL or PTE. And the English test needs to be with the minimum score for each of the 4 bands: listening, speaking, reading and writing. The other question, that's quite a long question. My question is, although my entire professional life has been in the area I studied, I've never been hired as an electrical engineer. I'm currently working in the public sector as an electrical technician, and before that I was an electrical project manager. The only work experience I can prove as an engineer is some freelance demands registered at the Brazilian Federal Regional Engineers Council with the ARTs, the Technical Responsibility Annotation, document that attests technical accountability. May I use my work experience in my current workplace as career episodes while assessing my skills by Engineers Australia? His current work is electrical technician. If you're going to apply as an electrical technician, then it should be okay. But if you're going to apply to be approved as a professional electrical engineer, and if you're going to use experience as electrical technician, I believe you will have issues, you have problems, because the competencies required to prove a professional engineer level is going to be quite different from the competencies that you will be able to demonstrate if you use electrical technician experience. So you just gotta be careful, because you may not get the outcome that you're expecting. So if you're going to apply for a professional engineer category, it's certainly better to use a professional engineer experience. The other question, for relevant skills assessment from Engineers Australia, along with CDR, the Competency Demonstration Report, CPD and Summary Statement, do we have to submit roles and responsibility endorsed letter from previous companies as a proof to get experience points while submitting EOI? And what if they refuse to provide it due to some company policy? What should we do in that case? Yeah, that's a very good question. I'm noting that there are actually 2 different processes in this question. One is the skills assessment, which is the process to validate your qualification as an engineer. And the other point in the question is about validating your work experience to get points for your migration process. So that's 2 separate processes. One is to validate your qualification, and the other process is to validate your work experience. So one has nothing to do with the other one. When you can just apply your skills assessment, you can validate just your work experience, or you can do both. So, but if you're going to validate your work experience, the question is, do we have to submit roles and responsibilities endorsed letter from previous companies? Yes, the reference letter is your primary document. To be able to validate your work experience, you need to provide your primary document, which is the reference letter from your employer, and also you have to provide your secondary documents. That's going to be, tax returns, superannuation statements, social security statements, bank statements, contract agreements, termination agreements, those sort of documents that can use as evidence as well as your secondary documents. The other question that I received was, I got your email. What type of photos and pictures we can use in the CDR? Yeah, that's very important to know what photos and pictures you can use, because the best ones are the ones that you done yourself. Either you took yourself the photos, or the pictures are the pictures that you've done it or you used in your original report. So that's very important. Why is that? Because if you ended up using somebody else's photos or somebody else's pictures and not giving the credits to them, Engineers Australia can interpret that as unethical behavior, because you're taking somebody else's work as being your work, and it can be interpreted as plagiarism. So that's very serious. The other question is, I have received the email, I have learned everything, I have full of questions. Yeah. The other question is, how would I know if I have been validated? Yeah, that's a good question. Well, once you apply, once you submit your application, you will know if you've been validated, because you get an email from Engineers Australia letting you know that your submission was approved, and there will be a letter from Engineers Australia saying that your skills were successfully validated. This question is very common. I would like to know, how much would it cost the validation process in Australia? Yeah, that's a very good question. And the answer is that it's going to depend on how many documents you have to translate. It's going to depend what services you're going to ask Engineers Australia to do. But the standard skills assessment, which is the validation process, it's probably going to cost you, with Engineers Australia, around 950 Australian dollars. Obviously, you need to pay for your English test, which is about 400 Australian dollars. And also the translation of your documents. Let's say between 25 and 30 or $40 per page. If you have 10 pages to translate, let's say $400. So $950 for Engineers Australia, plus another $400 for the English test, and another $400 for translation. You will be spending roughly about $2,000. So obviously it can cost you more if you have to do more times the English test, if you don't get the minimum score, or if you have to translate more documents as well. And if you want to validate your work experience, that's going to cost probably around $350 with Engineers Australia to validate or for them to assess your work experience and try to validate your work experience as well. The other question is it possible to validate my career if I don't have experience in the field? If you don't have experience in the field, if you mean validate your career is to validate your work experience, well, if you don't have work experience, then it's going to be difficult to validate your experience if you don't have it. But if you want to, if you're asking about validating your qualification without having work experience, that is totally possible. You can validate your qualification without having work experience. What you need to do, you just need to use your academic engineering experience. Got a question here from João in Instagram. Thank you very much, João. He's saying, good evening. I work in a construction company in Perth. in the position to set out. I'm thinking in using this experience to do my skills assessment with the VET-Assess as a civil engineering technician. But I'm not sure if the job role would be considered as technician. How can I get this confirmation? Yeah, well, João, what I probably can advise to you is VET-Assess. I don't know much about VET-Assess, but VET-Assess certainly has a channel of communication like Engineers Australia, and you can probably send them an email saying, I just would like to confirm if my engineering technician validation is with you guys. This is my job description, this is what I do, and I would like to apply as an engineering technician. And then see what they answer you back. I'm pretty sure that when people they write to Engineers Australia an email, Engineers Australia is very good in responding emails, and they will let you know if they are the right assessment body. Another alternative that you can use is probably to consult a migration agent and then talk to them, and you can explain your job role, your job description, and then I believe that migration agents, they have better knowledge in terms of who would be the assessment body for your job. But I would initially I would send an email directly to VET-Assess and ask that question there. But thank you very much, Ron, for your question in Instagram. The other question is, what would be the first step in the validation process? Well, the first process, as I said during the workshop, is to read the booklet, the Migration Skills Assessment booklet from Engineers Australia. So what you probably need to do, you just need to go to Engineers Australia website and search for the Migration Skills Assessment. There's actually a PDF booklet that you can read, and that would be your first step. The booklet is going to be like your Bible. You have to read once, twice, few times, and make sure that you understand what they're talking about. It's very important that you read the booklet so you can understand. If you have questions about the validation process to become an engineer in Australia, you can send me a question, you can send me your comments, and I'll be more than happy to answer those ones. The other question is, where do I find the list with the descriptions of each occupation to see where I kind of fit in my position? All right, so there's a website called ABS, the Australian Bureau of Statistics, and what you need to do, you probably much easier to type in Google. I'll put in here ANZSEO engineer. So when you Google ANZ SEO engineer, it will give you the result of the Australian Bureau of Statistics, and in there you will have all the definitions of the engineering professions in the ANZ SEO occupation list. Yeah, Gerson, but my type of engineering is not there. Well, if your engineering is not there, you probably fall within the outros. It's called professional engineer not elsewhere classified. So the professional engineer not elsewhere classified will include engineers that are not listed in the list of professions. So If your type of engineering is not in the list, don't panic. You can apply under the professional engineer not elsewhere classified. I actually have a student of my mentoring program that was validated last week or 2 weeks ago, and he was validated as professional engineer not elsewhere classified under the specialization of a product design engineer. And that's a good reminder that my mentoring program, it closes tonight, midnight or 11:59 p.m. Brisbane time. So another 3.5 hours, and I'll be closing the enrollments of my mentoring program, where you can learn everything, the step-by-step to prepare your application, and perhaps join my successful students. So far, 29 of my students applied already for the validation, and all 29 students have been validated. So I'm going to put in here the website that you can check if you're interested, just to have a look. HTTPS validation mentoring.com validationmentoring.com, and you still have the opportunity to get $600 discount tonight, and also going to get the 9 bonuses totally for free as well. All the details are on the website. The other question that I received was, I'm 26 years old, I'm graduated in civil engineering. I studied 2 years in the United States, and I got to know some construction sites and the construction system from America. I would like to know, what are the processes to start in the career of civil engineer in Australia? Sorry. So what are the processes to start my career as a civil engineer in Australia, and what are the chances? Well, the process to start your career as a civil engineer in Australia, one, it's probably to fit with what Australia needs. So when you look at the position descriptions and the jobs that are available here in Australia, there will be job descriptions and there will be some requirements. If you fit those requirements, you will certainly have better chances to get a job as an engineer. I'd say that getting your qualification validated is also going to be beneficial, especially in your recruitment process, because when you have your validation process done, if you are recognized as an engineer here in Australia, the people recruiting for the job will probably going to give you better chances for an interview. And remember, and I mentioned that during the workshop, when a company opens for vacancies, they're probably going to get lots and lots of applications, sometimes 50, 60, 70 applications. And they're going to interview probably 4 or 5 to recruit one, if they have just one position. So for shortlisting, if they're going to shortlist for 5 candidates, they need to eliminate, let's say, 55 candidates and interview 5 candidates. And to eliminate 55 candidates, they can use as a criteria to eliminate first the ones that are not validated. And then the other ones, they're going to look at some of the criteria, and then competencies and experience. And then probably the last 10, they're going to have a really good look and shortlist 5. So if you don't really have your qualification validated, you could be eliminated very early in the piece, even if you have good experience and good competencies, because if you're not validated, the ones that are validated probably have better chances to get interviewed. The other question is, my main question is about the summary statement, and also confused about the CPD, the Continuing Professional Development. Yeah, the CPD is any particular event that you did that you had some learnings, any particular event that you improved your knowledge, especially within your engineering field. It could be seminars, workshops, formal education, volunteer work, private study, reading technical articles, participating in webinars, and those sort of things. They all could be your CPD. And the other question about summary statement. Well, the summary statement is a document, one of the 3 reports that you have to do, where there are 16 competencies that you need to tell Engineers Australia why you believe you're competent in each of the 16 competencies, and where in the career episodes in your reports those competencies are. You need to put the number of the paragraph to help the assessor to check in your report, in your career episode report, where he or she can find the evidences of those competencies. Obviously, those ones that participated in my workshop, they know everything about the CPD, they know everything about the summary statement. If you missed the workshop, the next free workshop is probably going to be in September, October. So yeah, and I'll let you know in my stories when I open the registrations, and how you can register already for the next workshop. All right, so probably going to see if anybody would like 15 minutes of free consulting. The only condition is that it needs to be now. So if you are willing to get 15 minutes with me now, I will then invite you, and you can ask your question here live. Why do I do this? Because your question can be somebody else's question as well. And when I answer your question, I answer many people's question. And my idea is to use the live session to take the time to bring the knowledge to as many people as I can. And I understand that sometimes people are a bit shy, etc. They don't want to share the screen, and they don't want to show their face in Instagram, but that's the only condition. If not, you're more than welcome to send your question in the comments. So if you would like to be part of the live session and ask your question direct to me now, you just need to write me in the comments, and I will invite you to the live session. If you don't want to be in the live session but still want to ask a question, you're more than welcome to type your question in the comments, and then instead of sharing the question, I'll obviously answer the question by reading the question, and then I can answer that. All right. While you have a think about it, I will answer another 2 or 3 questions that I received, and then I will conclude the live session, if nobody put a hand up. The other question was, is it necessary for the validation to be able to work, or... All right, so this question is, to work as an engineer, is it necessary to validate, or can I work without validating the qualification? Well, you can work without validating your qualification. The only thing is that depending where you work, depending on the state that you're going to work, if you're not validated, you will need to be closely supervised by a registered engineer. For example, if you are working here in Queensland and providing professional engineering services. New South Wales and Victoria, they started their registration process as well, and they might require registration, which means that you also need to be validated. So it's better for you to understand first where you're going to work and then consult in the state government's website if you need to be validated, if you need to be registered to provide professional engineering services. João said me, so he would like to join the live session. So I will invite you, João. Congratulations. So let's wait until João can accept the invitation.
Hi, Gerson.
Hi, João. Good evening. How are you?
Good evening. I'm good, thanks. How are you?
Good, thanks. Yeah, thanks for participating.
Thank you. You are helping us a lot with all your knowledge.
Yeah, that's all right. Thank you very much. Where are you from?
I'm from Minas Gerais in Brazil,
Yeah.
and I'm currently in Perth.
In Perth, yes. Yeah. All right. So, and what type of engineering did you do?
I graduated in civil engineering last November, so November 2022.
All right.
And after that, I came to Australia. And so I don't have any experience after, like post-graduated, but I have some experience before graduating as a civil engineering.
Technician.
Yeah, technician and assistant as well. So I worked in a high-rise building as a civil engineering assistant.
All right.
And I would like to ask if I could use that experience that I had there in my career episode, and how could I use that? Because it wasn't in a project, like it wasn't like projecting, was like on site.
Yeah.
So how could I use that experience?
Yeah, it was a residential, commercial building, or
was a residential
building.
Yeah, 16 floors.
Yeah, the experience in residential building is quite complicated here in Australia. Yeah, one because especially if you were assisting the construction site, sometimes it gets more like a construction manager.
Yeah.
Sort of experience, and only if when you're working as an assistant engineer, if you help the engineer to do the design, some of the design during construction, or even reviewing the design and providing feedback, but in terms of helping the delivery of the construction, it's quite complicated. Engineers in Australia usually they don't really recognize that as a professional engineer, unfortunately. Yeah. Perhaps if one of the career episodes you use that experience, and the other two career episodes you use some experience from university, maybe you have some chances. But if you ended up using just those three experiences from the time that you were in the construction site, it can, how do you say in Portuguese? Pode bater na trave.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah, that's
So
my main concern. That's why I'll try to validate my degree as a technician using my experience here in Australia.
all right. Have you done? Do you know much about AutoCAD or not?
Yes, I do.
Yeah, because you could, well, depending on your migration objectives as well, because Engineers Australia can also recognize as a civil draftsperson, and a lot of people uh, they they get their validation as a draftsperson, and they still can get their migration objective that they want. So that could be one avenue. But because you've got you working here in Australia, and I believe that VETA says, because VETA says, I think that they require work experience.
Yes, they require 1 year of work experience.
Yeah, if you have that, and that's all right. But a lot of people they don't, and for those people that they don't have work experience, the alternative is to validate a civil draftsperson with Engineers Australia, where you don't need experience.
Oh, you don't need experience?
No,
And
in
how do you validate it?
yeah, with Engineers Australia, you don't need experience.
Mm.
Yeah, if you, a lot of people they do courses here as civil engineering draftsperson, and they use the work that they did in the course to validate with Engineers Australia.
Okay, I'm gonna
Yeah,
look for it.
yeah. So that's an alternative if for those people that don't have work experience. If you have work experience as a technician here, you could, yeah, you could try it with VETASES. But if you
Okay,
don't, or if you think that your experience is not going to be very good with VETASES, and if you are good with AutoCAD design, and as part of your work, perhaps you do AutoCAD, you can use that work experience in AutoCAD to validate as a draftsperson.
okay.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
All right. No worries, João. Thank you very much for your participation. Thank you.
Bye.
All right. See ya. Bye. Yeah. Now that's very, very interesting, and there's always different scenarios that happen with people, and the scenario that happened with João, maybe it's your scenario as well, that you are graduated in a bachelor degree, but your current work is in a different category, different level, and there are other alternatives. All right. So I don't think we've got any other questions there, and I would like to I'll probably going to show you here, see if I can get uh, my screen transfer in there. Just like to show you guys my website in terms of if you want to have a look at my mentoring program, validationmentoring.com, and very easy. It's got all the information here, uh, the 9 bonuses and everything else, and information about the 30 days warranty as well, if you're interested. And also you can hear some testimonies from my students that they got validated as well. So very simple to have a look. If you have questions, you can also come in here in this corner. You can send me a message, and I can answer the questions. If you then want to have a look and enroll, you just need to click on this button there, and it will open up the cart with the discount. It's $1,147. You can split in 3 payments. The only thing is that in 3 payments, the first one, the deposit, you're gonna pay $50 installment fee. and then you add to the cart, and then it goes to the cart page. Yeah, that's your discount, $600 discount, and then you proceed to checkout, and then you just need to fill out your details. And here, very important, you need to put your email address and your username and your password, because this is going to be your login for your mentoring portal. And if you're happy with that, you just need to select if you do a bank transfer or a credit card, or you split in payments. And then you just place the order. You get some emails confirming, and especially if it's a bank transfer, you get an email with my bank details for you to transfer. And you'll be able to access the portal straight away. The portal is this one, validationformula.com. So that's the portal, and you can use, I need to log in. Here's my login. Did I forget my login? Oh, I forgot my login. Well, you'll be able to see all the modules, and there are 25 modules in total. And especially, I've got one module for each of the competencies here, module 16, fluent application of engineering techniques, tools, and resources. Then 2.3, 2.4, and then all the 16 modules, I give plenty of examples how to do it. So you just need to go to validationmentoring.com and then have a look. And it says here until tonight, 11:59 p.m. We'll close enrollments tonight, because obviously I need to dedicate time to my new students. All right. Yes, I think I'm back. So if I don't have any other question here in Instagram, I would like to thank you guys very much for your participation tonight. And I wish you a good rest of Sunday and a very good week from tomorrow. Thank you very much, and I'll see you then. Bye-bye.